If you're in the journaling and stationery community, then you know that everybody journals differently. Some people only write and never stick anything in their journals, and some people don't write any words and they only stick pictures and stickers to tell a story. Some people use their journals to draw, like a sketchbook. Right now, I'm focusing a lot on my visual novel. It's my main creative project at the moment, and I'm using my journals to help map things out and keep all the information in one place. This isn't a how-to video because everybody's brains work differently, but if you are a creative person, then maybe you might be interested in how I use some of my journals to work on my visual novel. So, if you're working on a comic or a novel yourself, then maybe you want to stick around and see how I use it. Hey there, guys. I'm One Live Film. Welcome to the cinema. My audience retention rate is really bad, so I'm just gonna jump into it. So, for some context, my visual novel takes place in 2024 to 2025. There isn't any specific reason why I chose 2024, but I just had to choose a year so that I could map out the story day by day, week by week, month by month. Did you guys know I graduated high school in 2024? That's such a baby year to graduate. That's so baby. Anyways, that's not important. So, as you can see, like I said, I am mapping out the chapters of the visual novel by the day, and I have two different planners, and the reason I have two is because one of them is for the latter half of 2024, and then the other one is for the entirety of 2025. The planner for 2025 actually has monthlies that start from July of 2024, which is perfect because that's when Channel 1537, my visual novel, starts. However, the reason I decided to not use that to plan the first season is because it only has the monthlies and it doesn't have any weeks for 2024. Meanwhile, all the days of 2025 have weekly spreads. Since it only had the monthly spreads for 2024, I wouldn't be able to plan things out as specifically as I wanted, because I would only be able to fit so much writing in the month boxes. So for the first season, I'm using a 2024 Hobonichi avec, and I'm only using the second half of the year, which also starts in July, which is perfect. I was actually going to buy a Hobonichi A6 for 2025 as well for the rest of the series, but I decided against it because, number one, I actually did order one, but I accidentally ordered one that started in April, which is bad because then I would have July to December of 2024 and then April of 2025. So I'm missing like a huge chunk of the series, which is very important. I ended up returning that book, but I actually decided not to buy one that started in January because I think the weekly planner that I got at the pharmacy for cheap actually has a pretty good format for Channel 1537 planning. The days of the week take up both pages, and Saturday and Sunday are smushed together because, they're the weekend. Normally I would not like that on a planner, but since this is for my visual novel, and the visual novel takes place at the workplace, it makes sense for Saturday and Sunday to not be as big for my planning because most of the episodes don't take place during the weekend. And if I do have an chapter, oh my goodness. I swear to God, this happens like every time I'm recording a video about Channel 1537. Anyways, so if I do have a chapter that takes place during the weekend and I don't have enough space for my bullet points in the actual planner, I'm not opposed to taking a memo pad or a sticky note and writing the rest of my bullet points on there and then just like taping it in. What I'm actually doing right now is I'm writing down all of the information that was in the 2025 planner into the Hobonichi of Vec, and I'm erasing them from the original planner so that I don't use that one for reference, because if my plans change, I don't want both of my planners to have different information on them. Unlike the last notebook, this one is not dedicated to Channel 1537, but it does help me out a lot. I used to use a primarily one notebook system, but I often found that I would lose a lot of important information. All of my important Channel 1537 notes would be lost in the sauce with a bunch of brainstorming notes and like me just writing about how bored I am in the middle of class or something. So I decided to start a notebook that keeps all of the important information in it. So when I go and look back on my notes and I see something that's important, I'll go grab my A5 Stylogy and I'll start writing it down. It is somewhat of a commonplace notebook, but instead of me writing notes about other people's writing or saying other people's words, I'm writing notes about my own notes. I mean, I don't know, I just hardly consume, like, any media at all, so I do have some commonplace notes from, like, one book that I'm reading, and I hardly ever really pick it up. So the kind of stuff that I would copy down into this notebook would be like backstory information or information about the characters' families or maybe a cool scene idea that I have, um chapter storyline ideas. And if I ever change my mind about something, I can just slap a sticky note on top of it and write, like, never mind, this isn't canon, or don't listen to this, or something. And I'm fine with that too, because I kind of like looking at my outdated notes so I can understand how I felt about the characters and stuff at an earlier point of time and what changed and why did I decide to change those things. Since Channel 1537 is a visual novel, I have to code it myself, so I also sometimes write notes about the coding that I have to do. If I don't know how to do a certain thing, or I can't remember how to do a certain thing, when I figure it out, I write it down. Even though I have that coding information in my notebook, I usually don't really use the notebook itself for reference because it's sort of hard to understand when you put code on paper. So I have like a Notion page. I don't really know how to describe Notion, but I have like a Notion page where I keep all of my coding notes as well so that I can just copy and paste them into Python. You'd think after uploading 2 chapters, I would know what I'm doing, but if I'm being totally honest, sometimes I forget how to code sprites in. So I there's just like stuff that I've coded in and I don't know how I did it. I don't code Channel 1537 on like a regular basis. So I'll have a week where I do a lot of coding and then I'll completely forget how to code like a month later because I was focusing on the writing and drawing the CGs. I like decorating the pages of this notebook because it makes each of the pages stand out from each other, because I do understand that I could just write the heading on each page and I would know where to find my notes, but it's like easier to find what's written on what page when they have different decoration instead of it like all being in black, all being in ink, and I don't know what section of the notebook that information is in. I don't know how to explain it. It's just easier to um, have a visual with the notes I'm taking, even if they're not related at all. I'll still have a visual that's accompanying the notes that I'm taking, and I'll be like, oh yeah, this note that I took about whatever was with this color theme that I did. I don't know. The point is just so that every page looks different. I don't have video footage working in these next two notebooks, so I'm just going to talk about them and just have the B-roll of like the other notebooks that I was working in. So first of all, we have my main traveler's notebook, and this is just the notebook that I use every day. Just, it has my planner in it. Mainly what I use it for is just like brainstorming or like stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness? What the hell am I talking about? Stream of conscious. Hold on, what is it? No, I'm pretty sure it's stream of conscious. Anyways, it's just writing without thinking before I write, or just literally writing my thoughts. I don't have a job and I don't go to school, so most of the time when I wake up, I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do today? And I usually just open this notebook and I write down, I have no idea what I'm gonna do today. What are some things that I need to do? And then I'll like write what I want to do or some shit. I don't know. So sometimes those random writing sessions will be me having an idea for channel 1537. And like I said, like this is the notebook where I write down the ideas messily. And then the A5 Stalogy is the one where I put those ideas down and make it so that I can easily reference it without everything looking like a mess. I don't brainstorm channel 1537 as much as I used to because I've already started the series, so it's not like I have to write down plot ideas because I already have plot ideas in mind, and you can literally play the first two chapters right now and read them if you want. Of course, only after liking and commenting on this video because you like supporting small creators. Twirls my mustache evilly or something. But anyways, I sometimes use my main notebook for writing. I've written actually like some of the scenes in chapter 4 in that notebook, and then I copied it down into Ren'Py in the coding. I also use my Hobonichi weeks to habit track every time I work on channel 1537 so that I know that I'm working on it on a regular basis, or like at least a semi-regular basis. The next notebook I want to talk about is my A6 Stalogy. I know, I have so many Stalogies. I just love Stalogies. Actually, I don't have that many. I only have 3. Compared to like my 8 traveler's notebooks, I think that's not much. So anyways, my A6 Stalogy is pretty much just like a no rules notebook, and I guess I sort of see it as my creative notebook now because originally when I started it, I was like, I'm gonna use this and not care about how I use it because it has 365 pages. I don't have to worry about running out of pages because there's literally so many. And because I'm not strict on what things I can use that notebook for, it's kind of led me to using it in a more creative way. So I like using it a lot for sketching out some of the CGs for channel 1537. If you don't understand what that means, basically is I'm storyboarding the scenes in my visual novel before I go on my iPad and actually draw the full scene. I do also brainstorm in this notebook occasionally because, again, it has no rules or regulations. But since the notebook is A6 and it has a 5mm grid, I don't typically brainstorm in this one because I don't feel like writing in it as much because it doesn't have that much space. That is pretty much it when it comes to the notebooks I use for Channel 1537 visual novel development, at least on a regular basis. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. But I'm not sure if anybody will. But if you have, if you're interested in learning more about my visual novel, I have tons of videos on my channel about it, but you could also just read it. I'll put the link for the Gamejolt page in the description of this video. You can just play it on your web browser. You don't have to download anything. It's really easy. If you want to, I would appreciate you read it. It's cute. It's realistic fiction. I'd give the first 2 chapters like a teen rating. It's not inappropriate or anything. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Bye. Go home. Have fun. What are you doing, dude? What the fuck is this? The hell? Hi. What are you doing? Why are you being silly? Why don't you just go in the bed like I told you? Why are you being stupid? The hell is this? Oh my god, bro.